Welcome to the Becoming Mind Strong podcast. And today we are talking, it's a multi-part series again, where we're going to be talking about if you are someone who tried macros before and you just did not have a good experience, this is for you. There's kind of two groups of women that I talk to. One are people who have never heard of macros before, and the other are like, I tried macros, I hated it. It was too tedious. It didn't work for me, whatever the story is there. And if that is you, buckle in because I'm going to teach you in this three-part series why, if you tried macros before and it didn't work for you, exactly why that is, and most importantly, what we can do instead. Check it out. So this conversation about why macros didn't work for you, I'm going to break into three sections so that I can dig somewhat deep into each of them. And the first section is the one that I see most. And what's heartbreaking about this is I see this not only in people trying to do macros by themselves, but I see it in people who have worked with macro coaches before. And I can speak about this with confidence because I have a whole other branch of Mind Strong that most of the public doesn't see because it doesn't apply to them. But I train coaches in our nutrition method. So if you're Jane Smith and you're doing in-person workouts, but you don't do nutrition, especially not online, I train coaches in our method because the way we approach nutrition, the way we approach macros is so wildly different from the industry norm because of how personalized it is. So when I'm saying what I'm about to say in this episode, it is not me like trash talking other coaches. It's because I see it time and again. So the number one reason that people try macros and it does not work for them is because either they or maybe even worse, their coach is using an online calculator or a generic formula. And I'm going to dig deeper into this in the other two parts ahead of why it didn't work, because when I teach you how this needs to be done, it'll become more and more abundantly clear why these online calculators and generic formulas don't work. But for the purposes of this first part, I don't care what you do, whether you ever work with me or not. This is a blanket statement. Tattoo it on your forehead, write it on your bathroom mirror. Do not use an online macro calculator or a generic formula. I have a free 90-minute workshop floating around on the interwebs as of the time of this recording. And one of the parts of that workshop is that I actually pull up on screen. I went online and I chose the three most reputable online calculators that I could find, online macro calculators. And in those three calculators, I put the exact same height, age, weight, activity level, and goals for myself in three different calculators. One calculator told me I should be eating 1,100 calories. With the way that I train, I would literally be in the hospital if I ate 1,100 calories a day. The second calculator was the best of the three, and that does not make it good. It told me I think it was around 1,400, 1,450. Now, at 1,400, 1,450 calories, I would not be in the hospital, but Lord Almighty, stay away from me. I would be hangry. Okay. That is not what my body needs. The third calculator told me I should be eating close to 1,900 calories. Now, thank the heavens above that I have been doing macros for almost a decade, so I know my body, and I know that at almost 1,900 calories, I am going to gain weight. But can you imagine if I didn't do this for a living and I put all my hope and trust in this online calculator and it pumps out these numbers and I work so hard to conquer the skill of nutrition, lock in my macro numbers, and then I freaking gain weight? Like, I'm laughing saying that because it's absurd, but it's not funny. It's heartbreaking. Online macro calculators do not work. They are not personalized enough. They are too generic. We need so much more information than just your age, your height, your weight, your activity level. They are never going to be the answer. Now, in the parts of this series ahead, I'm going to teach you more in depth. Number one, what to do instead, right? Because we're not going to use those. What else do we do? But more importantly, there's other aspects to why they don't work that we're going to get more in the weeds about, meaning, how do I make this more personalized to my body? How do I tweak and adjust based on what my body's saying? But we're keeping this first part short and sweet because blanket statement, again, tattoo it on your forehead, put it on the mirror. Online macro calculators, generic formulas, and this is true. This is what I encourage you to do. I've had calls with people where I ask them to do this. If you have a macro coach and you are doing macros with them, with your macro coach, and they gave you numbers, I will ask them to ask their coach, where did you get these numbers? Ask them their process. And this is not intended to throw someone under the bus. But if their answer is, I used an online macro calculator, or they're probably not going to say that to you flat out, right? That's bad business for them to admit that. They're going to say, oh, I used a formula based on your age, height, weight, activity level. They probably used an online macro calculator, or they used a generic formula. If that's the answer, don't walk, run. And you know I hate cardio, so you know I mean that. Don't walk, run. And again, in the episodes ahead, we're going to talk about on a deeper level why that is. But there are a gazillion macro coaches out there who are doing the same thing that you could do by Googling online macro calculators, and they are never going to be the answer. Now, last thing I'll say about this, if you know me, you know I'm that annoying kid that says, but why, but why, but why? So don't take my word for it. Right now, when you're done listening to this episode, go on your computer, your phone, look up online macro calculator. You'll find 150,000 of them. Pick 3, put in your same age, height, weight, activity level goals. See what happens. Because I promise you, I've never had it not happen. I promise you, you are going to be more confused than when you started. And the answer is they are not personalized enough. They are never going to work. So in the next part, we're going to talk about even more in depth why that is, and we'll get into what to do instead. I'll see you there.